Benevolence, dear mortals. Welcome to my channel. You can call me Whimsical William. Let's get into it. Back at you again with another manga. For this week's video, I read a newer manga called Otaku Vampire Love Bite. Very, very cute manga. It's only one volume out right now, I believe. The second volume should be coming soon. This is made by Viz Media, Shoujo Beat. Really fun to read. The premise is very simple, and the art's beautiful too. I'll show you that in a second. The premise is really simple but effective. The main character, she's a very powerful vampire, but she's a shut-in. She just stays in the house all day and just doesn't really do much. And then one day her dad's like, yo, you should check out this anime. And it's a vampire anime. So she immediately falls in love with it. I forgot where they live. I think they lived in, it's not Transylvania. Romania, I think is Romania. So she just leaves Romania, leaves her dad, and just moves to Japan because she just wants to drown in otaku culture. She just wants to enjoy her favorite anime, buy all the figures, all the wall scrolls, all the art prints, the acrylic stands. Like, if you're an otaku like me, then anything that you collect or you're interested in, or things that you enjoy but you haven't purchased yet, she's been buying it. And only for one anime, which, I mean, it's a little limited. Hopefully later on in the series she starts to like other series as well. Her being such a diehard fan to this one anime, it's kind of cool. Like, she's just a dedicated fan through and through. Now, if that were the only premise, this would get stale and old and drab relatively quickly, like another manga that I dislike, Otaku Elf. I got a sucker for otaku stuff. Otaku Elf to me was trash though. Very boring. There's no real conflict in it. There was no excitement, and the art was really bland as well. I ended up selling that manga, but this one, I'm probably gonna buy more volumes of it, and I'm probably gonna keep reading it. I had a really good time. So let's get into that premise. So she's in Japan, and her neighbor happens to bump into her, and she's like, all right, well, nice to meet you. I live next door. And he's like, I don't really care. It's kind of mean. But she looks at him and she's like, oh my God, you look like the main character of this anime, my favorite character in the anime. And he's like, oh, you're a dork, you're a nerd, get away from me. And then they bump into each other again, and she convinces him to hang out with her and go to this like restaurant that serves the food that looks like stuff in the anime. And they get closer. He's still pretty standoffish, and he's like, I don't know why you like this show so much. There's no such thing as vampires. And she's like, you sure about that? You sure about that? And like, she didn't tell him off rip, but it's implied like, yo, eventually I'm gonna have to let you know. So later on in the story, we find out that maybe he was lying about his idea of there not being any such thing as vampires. And maybe he just said that because he dislikes vampires. I won't give you too much context. I feel like I've already given too much because this is a newer manga, and I want you to go check it out. If you like vampires, you like wholesome stuff, you like cute stuff, go ahead and check this out. This is a fun read. Let me show you the art real quick before I get into any more of the story. So like, nothing to write home about. It's not the most detailed or the most unique, but it's just good. It's just really good art. And I think that the character designs are pretty strong. As a vampire connoisseur, I like the positioning of the fangs, the size of the fangs, and how well the fangs are concealed when each vampire's mouth is closed. I like the idea of a vampire being a fan of a vampire anime. It's ridiculous. It's funny. All right, so there's actually conflict in this story. There's another character that likes the main character's next door neighbor, and he doesn't want to share him, but also doesn't want to admit that he likes him and that he's also, has a secret besides that secret. So that's a little bit of conflict, and we find out later on in this volume that the main character is a super overpowered vampire. And in this universe of vampires, your age and your lineage has a lot to do with your power. Like if you're hundreds and hundreds of years old, you're gonna have developed a pretty nice level of power as far as your physical strength and your movements and other abilities that these vampires get over time. But also, are you a part of a noble family? Did your maker that turned you, were they just a regular, kind of run-of-the-mill vampire, or were they like nobility? That can make all the difference. And that ideal plays a role in a lot of other vampire stories. My favorite writer being Anne Rice in her vampire story, Queen of the Damned. Queen of the Damned, she's the first vampire, therefore she's the most noble vampire and the most powerful vampire. So if you drink her blood or get access to her blood somehow, it just makes you way more powerful. But at the same time, it really has to do with who your maker is as well. The main character, Lestat, had a very powerful maker, which in turn made him a pretty powerful vampire. Now, if you're a vampire that's like just a normal vampire, you're not weak, you're not powerful, you're just normal, your offspring has a potential of being weak. But with this character, her maker, her father, very powerful nobility, and she's nobility herself. So I thought that was a pretty cool concept that they put into this story. This, has potential to be more of a romance. It's got romantic aspects, but not a lot of romance is really happening. It's more so nerd culture and awkward situations, a little bit of comedy, a little bit of fighting. It's fun overall. I hope that you check this one out. Once again, it's Otaku Vampire Love Bite. And I really do enjoy this cover. Really nice art. Oh, by the way, this is from the creator of Kami-sama Kiss. So if you're into that, you already know what it is. It's going to be a good read. And you can see the art style within his eyes and his face. He kind of has that style. Definitely shoujo, but it's got a little bit of shonen influence in the art style as well, which is really interesting. But hey, I appreciate you checking out another video, hearing my ridiculous recommendations, and anything vampire I'm excited about. I write another vampire manga. I'll be sure to tell you about that. I hope you're having a good spooky month. Honestly, it doesn't really feel like spooky month to me. Like the weather is just starting to change. The leaves are starting to fall out of trees, but something's missing. I don't know what it is. We got the pumpkin right here. We got the autumn leaves. Got the Gengar shirt. But I don't feel the festive feeling yet. I don't feel the holiday spirit. I hope you do though. I hope that you carve some pumpkins, you have some apple cider, you watch scary movies or spooky movies. And also, if you haven't subscribed, you should do that. That'd be cool. With that being said, thank you so much for watching another video. I'll see you next time. Peace.